Hello, everybody. So you got Tammy Smith and Tammy Pack here coming to you live today. We're going to do a little tutorial, a little lesson, a little Q&A, deep dive about Airbnb. It's a hot topic, right? It has definitely changed the vacation rental industry in a lot of wonderful ways. And like everything in life, nothing is 100% good or 100% bad. So we thought we should just dig in and give you a little behind the scenes on that. Now, the reason that Tammy and I are the two that are here going to talk to you about this today is long before I was in real estate, I was in the vacation rental B&B space. We used to call them B&Bs, and we still kind of do because Airbnb, I think, is bringing that term back around. But most of what we're talking about is not really what you thought of, like with Bob Newhart, the traditional, sit down and have a big meal. There's a handful of those left, and they're wonderful too. But most of us are here talking about vacation rental. Either maybe we have a cottage in the backyard, maybe we own a property in our town or in another town that we rent out on a short-term rental basis. So if you hear STR, short-term rental, B&B, vacation rental, it's one size fits all in this talk, and it's all the same thing. So let's just jump in and talk a little bit about the past. Tammy and I knew each other for our kids danced together. Miss Rhonda's here in Fredericksburg for years, so we knew each other well. My background, I have a law degree. I was running retail stores. I'd gotten out of the law trap at that point, had my own little B&B, and thought I need to start taking my own reservations. Tammy has a master's in social work, and she was driving to Kerrville, about 23 miles away, and was sick of the drive. Had a great job, but was just tired of driving and being away from her kids. So I said, you know what? I'm going to start my own service just for my rooms. And why don't you run it? You're the most organized person I know. And she's like, okay, well, I can make that happen. So it was kind of a joke at first, but it ended up working out. And that was what, 2007?
Yep, 12 years ago.
So we were just talking today. She goes, I wasn't here 10 years ago. I was like, you were here 12 years ago. We just said that. So 2001, I made my first little vacation rental. We lived in an old historic Victorian home, and it came with a dilapidated garage. So we fixed it up and said, we spent way too much money for this to be once a year for Granny to come fixing this place up. So we said, let's rent it out occasionally. I hope we don't hate it. It was great. We loved it from the get-go. The guests didn't bother us and we didn't bother them. So over time, I started adding more properties. And I used a reservation service here in town. And finally I said, look, I think because I had retail stores at the time, I said, I've got stores on Main Street. I have employees, I have telephones, and I have computers. Mm-hmm. So it does not make sense for me personally to pay someone else to do it. We need to bring it in-house. And that's when Tammy came on, and absolute charm reservation service, which was first going to just be for me, right?
Yep.
Do you remember me saying it was just going to be my rooms?
Yeah. And then we started taking the cook at one of the inns. The cooks had a house, and then the maintenance men had a house, and then the electrician had a house, and it kind of grew from there.
And Tammy said also, we realized pretty quickly, because we went pretty hardcore on really nice website and all that up front, great photography. And as Tammy said, we got tired of answering the phone. I'm so sorry, we're full. I'm so sorry, we're booked. And we thought we're turning away too much business. So we started, and that's where our reservation service started. But Airbnb has come along and is doing some great things, and we utilize Airbnb as part of our service. And there are some ups and downs, and we're going to kind of discuss those and run through them real quick. So let's bring in a PowerPoint here. Aren't we fancy? And look at this. We're going to make ourselves little, so hopefully you guys can see what you need to see. So there's slide number 1, 3 myths about marketing your vacation rental through Airbnb. And again, we're not saying you shouldn't do that, but we're saying you need to understand all the facts, right? And dig a little deeper than the surface. So B&Bs are a lot of fun to talk about, right? This is actually one of the properties we represent. And how beautiful is that?
My favorite.
Yes, many of our favorites. It's just so beautiful.
It broke all records last year, and in occupancy and in volume for a 1-bedroom, 1-bath.
Small little place, but stunning. They put all the details in. It is gorgeous. Who doesn't like to look at and talk about beautiful properties like that? But let's get down to it. What are the 3 myths about Airbnb? Tammy, why don't you take the first one?
So everybody will say, well, I'm going to do it on my own through Airbnb because it's free. That's a myth. Mm-hmm. It is not free. That is, they charge. Do you want me to keep going, or do you want to wait till the next slide?
Well, I guess we'll go through all of them, because what they think is, they just charge the guests. Yes. They don't charge me particular, or not much. So it's not a big deal. It's free. It's the best deal going. There are some good things about it, but Airbnb their business is set up where it's just a little trickier to know who they're charging what. So we'll talk about money.
Okay.
Number two is going to be, details. They will all pay all the lodging taxes, and my property is going to have tons of visibility on Airbnb.
Mm-hmm.
Well, let's just go ahead and dig in. And they say it's free since they just charge the guests. Because what we hear all the time is it doesn't matter because the guest pays it.
Mm-hmm.
The guest pays the fee. People like that. And we've been very tempted to go to that model as well and say, hey, people like it when they think the guests are paying. But what that assumes is that the guest has a bucket of money, right? They assume the guest has tons of money, doesn't look at the bottom line of their total. Well, we all know that's not true. Think about it. You've been on Airbnb, VRBO, Expedia, whatever, and you've gotten to the bottom and you've seen some of those fees, and that $200 room now is closer to $300 or $400 sometimes a night. What do? You hit the back button.
Yeah.
I can't tell you how many times I have abandoned my cart, as they would call it, because I'm like, that is crazy. That room looked so reasonable, and now you've added fees. I'm out. Mm-hmm. So the overall point we're trying to make here is guests are going to pay so much.
They're going to pay what a guest's going to pay.
Total for the room.
Total. Mm-hmm.
So instead of the fee, a big fee coming that goes straight to Airbnb, our theory is always that fee should be added to your room rate, and then we'll just take a percent of that. But you should be getting some of it. That whole 13% is going to Airbnb. So, my uncle used to always say there's no free lunch, and it couldn't be truer. So whether they charge the guests or charge you, the effect is the same. The overall rate to the guest, once it's too expensive, you just lose the booking in general. And so what do they actually charge? Let's dig right into this example here. This is just one little screenshot we did of a.
So yeah, and I was trying to choose one that was easy, $199 a night.
You were playing guest.
Yes, I was playing the guest. So I just chose an easy room, $199 a night, $25 cleaning fee. There's that $55 service fee. So if you divide that by the top, you're looking at what did we say? 13%. So they're charging the guest 13%. And our viewpoint, again, which Tammy said just a minute ago, is you go back. I want to put that $55 back in that $199 a night, and you get a percentage of that. So
80% of it.
80% in our situation. So because that's what the guest paid. The guest paid $503. So you're only going to get that $503 is what they're willing to pay. So they're obviously willing to pay more than $199 a night.
That's right. $55, divide that in half, was that $27.50 on quick math or so a night more they probably would pay, but Airbnb put that all straight to their pocket. So that affects your bottom line at the end of the year.
And the other thing is we did several examples of this. And every time it was 13%, 15%, 11%. There was no magic number, because I even said maybe the bigger properties are less percentage and the smaller properties are more, because they're getting it. There was no rhyme or reason, could not figure out, but this in particular one was 13%.
So there's a range there, but isn't what 10 or 11 the minimum?
11 was the minimum.
And we've seen some that are, what'd you say, 15?
15.
Yeah, so it ranges. And I don't know about you, but it kind of bothers me when I'd rather be told what I'm going to be charged. I would rather be able to understand that, but maybe that's just me.
And then what we didn't put on here, because of course we don't own this certain room or don't manage a certain room, is when you get the payout. So I went through all of our payout examples, and the minimum was 3%, but the average was the majority were 5%. There was a few 6%, very few.
No, what do you mean when you say payout? If I don't know anything about this.
So when we get the money, this guest paying that we're giving this example, you're going to get that $399 plus that $25, because that's from Airbnb. From
Airbnb, in like a direct deposit, or
it's a direct deposit, okay. And so it has a payout, and it says you get this per night, and then it has the Airbnb service fee added to that. So that's what I'm talking about. That you're not getting that full $398 plus $25. You're getting that minus their fee. In this case, in most cases, it was 5%. Very few 6%, and a little bit of 3%. Again, they're not upfront. They don't tell you what they're charging you or the guest. And it's different.
5% would be a great deal if they weren't charging the guest
as
that
well.
13% in this case, which meant the guest couldn't pay you as much for your room. Mm-hmm. That's where the hidden money is. And the other one, people may not even notice the 5%. If you see an example here, the guest paid $503, $25 went to state tax, $55 went straight to Airbnb's pocket. Another $19.90 went into Airbnb's pocket whenever they paid the owner. Mm-hmm. They held that back out. And then this we'll talk about a little bit more in taxes. Airbnb doesn't collect the taxes for the city or the county, but you still owe them. So guess whose money that's coming out of? It's still coming out of what you collected. So $373.49 actually in that case is what you would be getting.
The net to owner. So I did the exact same thing, but I put that $55 back in the rate and then put 80% off of that, because we're gonna charge the guests the taxes. So that take that out of there. And so I did the exact same figures, but I had you getting $382.40 if you were to go with a reservation service like us, where we charge 20%. So as you can see, you're getting more on another website than you would on Airbnb that is free.
Absolutely. Good point. So this is just another way basically to say kind of the same thing. And we have to give us as an example, because we talked about this. We said, should we just talk about Airbnb? I said, no, because otherwise we're just saying we're giving you no other alternatives. Just go into a black hole and quit, I guess. So we have to give you at least some examples. So just to recap, Airbnb is really going to charge you 13% because, again, the guest paid it and they could have paid that in your room rate instead. 7% of those city and county taxes, where we are at 7%.
We're 7%.
They don't collect it, but you owe it out of your money. And then 5% in this case that they held out of your check as well, and that ranges 3 to 6 basically. But if you add those up, that is 25%. We charge 20% of the room rate cleaning fee, and we have a 5% fee to the guest in most rooms. There are even some exceptions where we don't charge that.
Right.
If we book it through Airbnb or if it's a really large property, because we still know you by name. We still know our owners by name and by face. And we know we're getting a call from you if you don't book well. If there's anything that's going to hurt your property, that's what we're looking out for to make sure you guys are booked.
So in this example, you're basically paying the same amount or less with us, depending on the room. And we're doing all the work. In the other situation with Airbnb, you're doing all the work. You're answering every phone call. You're having to deal with the guests who want to cancel. You're having to deal with, where do I go to check in? What do I do?
Pay for your own photography.
You have to pay for photography. You have to do all those things. And we'll go into detail of what exactly we offer as well in the end of this. But, that's the same amount and you're doing all the work.
Yeah, pretty well. Myth number 2, we talked about a little bit. Airbnb pays all the lodging taxes. This is so huge to know because people are getting in major trouble about this. Yeah. They do collect state taxes in each state.
6%.
In our state, at least, it's 6%, the lodging tax.
And 7% is owed to the city. Now, this went effective for Airbnb. It was May 1st of last year, so 2018. And before, we could just add 13% on to any Airbnb reservation, and Airbnb collected that money. Now, since they are now taking the state money, they can't add another 7% because they're the ones taking that state money and they're paying it themselves because they got in big trouble because they were giving owners that they were taking the money. They were giving it all to the owners thinking, oh, they're paying their own taxes, and people were not.
So some of them on purpose and a lot of them just being mom and pops. This isn't their full-time job. It's one little side thing. They didn't know.
Yeah.
And they got in serious trouble about it.
So now we can only add 6% in there because they're taking that. So we've lost that ability to collect that 7%. Our software that we have chosen to go with, what it does is it adds it to the room. So I had an owner who was so mad at me, and I'm just going to use simple math because his rate is $100 a night. Well, when it went to Airbnb, it came to Airbnb as $107 a night. And he was furious that we were not being honest with him, that we were lying, that we were taking more money than we should. And I said, I did that. So then the money came off of there and you got your $100 a night. It was more than that, but I'm using that as an easy example. Instead, if I didn't do that, then you would be owing you would get $93 instead of $100. And I couldn't get him to wrap his money.
You bulked up the rate to get the tax. So that when we pay the tax, it didn't come out of his pocket. It came from the person who should have paid it, the guest. The guest. Absolutely. And if you think about it, it makes sense. You'll be able to remember that, like in Texas, it's easier for them to know Texas is 6%. We're going to charge that. But just think, every city and county have different rates. Mm-hmm. And Airbnb can you imagine the manpower they would have to add to be able to go into every city and county and file? You spend, a day or two a month, at least on taxes? At least. Minimum. Mm-hmm. It's a huge job.
And there are some counties that are 0%. I mean, there are some counties that don't charge hotel taxes. They're not a big tourism community. So
right.
they don't,
If you got an Airbnb there, they do.
Yeah.
If you have a vacation rental, they charge it. Absolutely. So that's a huge deal you need to know about. Then number 3, this is kind of a unique one. My property is going to have tons of visibility. Everybody sees Airbnb. It's great. It's, they have a lot of marketing dollars. Clearly they're a Goliath out there. So, and that's all true. But what you don't realize is
that, and it has to do with conversion rates and they'll put their top rooms on top. If you open a room and you go, oh, I don't like that, and I move on, you get a hit. So you go back to the bottom. The only way you get up to the top is when somebody looks at your room and books it. So let's say you've given your friends your link to your Airbnb site, and they're just going on to see the pictures. Every time they do that, you're going down in rankings.
Airbnb's algorithm thinks, oh, people are looking at this.
People don't like it.
So stop doing that. That's your free tip for the day. Don't do that anymore. If you want to show them, get your pictures on Facebook directly or something. If you're sending them to Airbnb, all the Airbnb knows is that people are not digging what you're laying out there.
Yeah.
They're not renting it.
And they want they put the top renters. So the ones that rent well on Airbnb rent very well because they keep on giving them reservations. But the people at the bottom, well,
the vast majority
of us are down at the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
And then reviews. The third point here is reviews, which just infuriates me because I had one, and this is my own personal property that I own, gave me a 3-star review. And their words were, fabulous location. It was so clean. We loved every minute of it, but the mattress was soft. They preferred a softer mattress, and I had a firm mattress, which I've never had that complaint before, that people didn't like my mattress, or I would have, of course, changed it. But my husband is a believer in firm mattresses help your back. So that's what we choose to buy. And I was taken down from Airbnb for 2 weeks. And I even called Airbnb and said, did you read the words in the review? Because some people think, oh, putting 5 stars, the best of the best of the best. No, some people don't give 5-star reviews ever, and they could love a place.
They think it means the Ritz-Carlton.
Yeah.
Some people think it's a 5-star property. If what you offered for $100 was clean, cute, and they enjoyed it, they might put 3 stars because they think this is a 3-star property. That's not the Ritz-Carlton.
And
that kills you on Airbnb.
They put you down, and they took me off for 2 weeks. For 2 solid weeks.
That's crazy.
So
the fourth point we wanted to make real quick, clearly, if you've been on Airbnb, if someone says, oh, Shannon Suite is my place. Once you're on Airbnb, it's really hard to find it by name.
You can't find it. You can't find it. You have to search by amenities. You have to search, so if you even tell somebody, hey, I have this B&B, go on Airbnb and look at this. You need the Airbnb number.
And no one's going to write that down and deal with it.
And not the name, because you can't find it. You can't find it.
That's a difficult problem as well. So briefly, just to recap one more time. So the main myths are that it's free, that you're safe for lodging taxes, and those are being handled for you, and that just because you're on Airbnb, people are going to find you. Give some examples, our service versus, we don't get the exact numbers because you had them the other day, like last weekend, vacancies.
Last weekend, Airbnb had 176 vacancies. VRBO had about 280, I believe, and we had 12. So,
and of course, we have fewer properties, but percentage-wise, still no comparison.
Right.
It was very good.
Yeah.
So this is kind of the service that we offer, and you're like, great, you're in Fredericksburg, Texas, but what about everywhere else? Well, we've been spending the last 18 months gearing up to go nationwide. So that is the big news here. If we haven't let that cat out of the bag yet, our software now can handle thousands and thousands of rooms anywhere around the world. So we are looking to take the quality of our service out there to serve you better. So let's talk a little bit about what we do.
So last year, and this is with the influx of Airbnb and all of those things, we were still up 19%. So that is with a whole lot. There's a lot of competition in this town. When we started 12 years ago, maybe half
of the number of vacation rentals.
Yeah. And so we're still able to every year be up and up and up. So we've never had a down year. In fact, our biggest increase was the year that the market crashed.
That's
because we said, what did your mom say? People with money.
She said, when times get tough, the only people with money are the people with money. And they still come. They are still going to come and stay in the nicest places you got. So, and then professional photography has always helped. Mm-hmm. We've always had a nice website, book in real time, professional photography. Customer service. Try to get someone on the phone at Airbnb. Good luck with that as a guest. That's not going to happen. Straightforward pricing for owners. We're not going to hide what we're charging. Price optimization is hugely important. We're going to make sure, because we do take 20% and you get 80%, we're on the same team.
Yeah.
Every additional $10 a night we can get you, we're going to get 2 of it. So we're not going to sit back and ignore the fact that you're leaving a few dollars on the table. And if we just keep increasing that until the people say, no, whoa, helo, back it down, then we're going to do that as well, because we're not going to care. We're not going to be one of those that doesn't care if you're sitting vacant.
Right.
We're on the same team 100%. The cool thing is we also, of course, we do all the work and put your property on Airbnb for you. But I was shocked by this. This is amazing. As huge as VRBO, Airbnb, all of those are, you said 23% of our business currently is coming from all of those combined. 77% is coming from our website itself. And that website is absolutecharm.com. So check out absolutecharm.com. And then the last thing we're going to talk about that I think we do better than anyone, really, literally, for our size, I think you guys will be pretty impressed, I hope. Social media dominance. Airbnb has got 15.8 million followers on Facebook. That's a lot of people, okay? So clearly they've got some great reach and people know what's going on out there. But I went ahead and put, look at this, here, this is the Galapagos Islands. This is pretty fancy, Fredericksburg's pretty awesome, but it ain't no Galapagos Island, so we don't have that to promote. But what a beautiful post with great aspirational photos and all of that. 175 reactions and 134 comments. That's great. I mean, most of the other services you ought to see that we've pulled up nationwide don't even have anything. They might have 200,000 followers and they have 2 likes on a photo. It's terrible. And here's one. This is actually a video showing a Costa Rica waterfall. They got some good stuff to work with, right? 486 reactions and 341 comments. And Tammy made a great point when we looked at this. We said not only are our numbers that and then some, we would actually put you on there. If they're showing Costa Rica waterfalls and Galapagos Islands, what is the odds of you ever getting promoted on Airbnb, social media whatsoever? Not good. So here's just one post I ran as an example. Don't take my word for it. Go check out, go on Facebook and go like Absolute Charm, B&B plus vacation rentals, and check out our posts and see the amount of conversation going on. On this one post, this was one of our better ones, but they all have Airbnb numbers. We've got 33,700 followers. They have almost 16 million followers. That's crazy. But our engagement is the same. On this one, even better. 2,900 reactions, 1,700 comments, and over 2,000 shares.
That's crazy.
And it appeared in 500,000 people nearly into their feed. That's nuts for a town of 10,000 people, a little tourist town here in Fredericksburg, Texas. So imagine what we're going to be able to do when we hyper-focus this on each area. But our goal is still, if you're in Palm Springs and you join us and you're part of Absolute Charm, we're going to post your property. It's not just going to be these videos of some fancy waterfall somewhere, because this gets us bookings. So much of our web traffic comes from social media and Facebook.
Yep.
So we're not going to ever let that go for you. If you guys have any questions, just pop them in below. I will be checking back on this and trying to answer all of those as I can. Tammy will as well. Feel free to reach out. But for now, we'll let you go. We kept it pretty good. Got 23 minutes. That's not bad for us, is it? So thank you guys for joining, and we'll catch you next time.
Bye.
Bye.